decided to lay down, which is lovely. So lay yourself down, make yourself comfortable, and let's begin a little practice together. So welcome all of you, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this practice. Welcome to this little online group. And welcome to your breath. And I'd like to invite you to align your attention with the center line of your body. And when you're ready, to enjoy a slow and centering breath. So slowly guiding your breath in. And then slowly guiding your breath out. And as you do that, with a feeling of letting go. And at the end of that long out breath, allow your breathing to return to normal. Just natural, normal breathing. And once you feel your breath settled, then again aligning your attention with the center line of your body. Enjoy a slow and centering breath. So slowly guiding your breath in. And slowly guiding your breath out with a feeling again of letting go or releasing. And then normal breathing. Effortless breathing. Remember, you've been breathing all day. Natural breath. So once you feel your breath settled, then one more time in your own time, when you feel it's just the right time. Aligning your attention with the center line of the body. Enjoy a slow and centering breath. Slowly guiding your breath in. And slowly guiding your breath out now with a feeling of having arrived in this place, at this time. Your body, your mind, and your breath, all together. And see if you can relax your control of the breath now and just see if it might be possible to catch yourself in the act of being breathed. So just really paying attention to the normal, naturally arising breath. Watching the breath as it rolls in. Watching the breath as it rolls out. A little bit like you might sit on the beach and watch waves rolling in and rolling out. In and out. And in the same way that you might sit on the beach and watch the waves without feeling any sense of having to change them, I invite you now to do that with your breath. Is it possible not to take the breath, but simply to allow it to arrive? To allow for the body to be breathed. And all of this sounds so straightforward, and yet it can be quite tricky. So every now and again, if you find yourself getting confused or stressed out about this practice, which isn't the intention at all, then it can be helpful actually just to enjoy a nice, slow, deep breath, slowly in and slowly out. And it's like that kind of attaches your attention to the breath, and then they're joined, they're attached. And then you can let your mind's attention ride on the breath. Like if the breath were a wave, then the mind's attention is bobbing up on the inhalation and dropping back down on the exhalation. Just easy, effortless. So thinking of these breaths like they might be a series of waves rolling up and down the beach. I wonder if you might be able to really pay attention to the moment at the end of the inhalation, where everything's turning around, and then the exhalation begins. And can you pay attention to the moment at the end of the exhalation, where again everything's turning around and the inhalation begins. So feeling not just the movement of the breath, but also the turning points in this cycle. Breathing itself is a cycle. And this little session we're doing tonight is all about being in the cycles and breathing in the cycles and getting really comfortable with the idea that things might be happening in a circular way or a cyclical way. So even our breath, each and every breath has this rhythm. The inhalation always leading towards the exhalation, and the exhalation always leading back towards an inhalation. And so this cycle continues. So can you really pay attention to the transition between the inhale and the exhale? And then can you really pay attention to the transition between the exhale and the inhale? So it's like the breath has 4 parts to it. The inhalation, the transition from inhale to exhale, the exhalation, and the transition from exhale back to inhale. And I'd like to invite you to simply continue with this practice for the next couple of minutes. Again, if you get lost off, or if you get confused, or you just feel like you need to, then at any point you can really take hold of your breath. Strong deep breath in, slow breath out. And again, that just links the mind's attention back onto the breath. But otherwise, we're just watching the body being breathed, watching the waves of breath rolling in and rolling out, following the breath around in this cyclical pattern. And what I really wanted to say before we do anything else is just how reassuring I find this particular practice and all of the practices that I do that help me connect with the idea that things might be moving in a circle. And one of the reasons for that is when we think about things moving in a straight line and then they stop, it kind of feels stressful. It's like I was moving in this direction and then it stops, or maybe I'm just free falling, dropping into nothing. But if we can think of things moving in a circle and then things stop or things start to fall away, then we've always got this reassurance that it's just part of the cycle, and there is going to be an end to this downward movement, and then there will be another upward movement. There will be an inhale. So it is not possible to continue exhaling indefinitely, nor is it possible to continue inhaling indefinitely. And so, yeah, I just find that really reassuring. And anything that happens to do with nature, Mother Nature, tends to have this cyclical rhythm. And so things can feel really kind of stressful and weird, and like everything's falling away or everything's falling apart. And yet also, we are reassured that there's going to be something on the other side. So Yeah. And as women, I especially invited women to come to this session. As women, we have this cyclical rhythm really embedded in us. I mean, I think as humans, we all do, but particularly as women, because we have or have had or may have at some point in our life a menstrual cycle. I think we've probably all had that experience. It usually happens kind of 3/4 of the way through your menstrual cycle, you know, the premenstrual week where you're just like, ah, everything's falling apart, everything feels difficult, everything feels stressful. And yet we kind of go through that and then the cycle begins again, and things are always changing. So as women, we can really connect, I think, in quite an embodied way to this idea that things might be cyclical. So let's just stay another 30 seconds or so, just watching the breath, feeling that rhythm in our own bodies, right there in our own bodies, this cyclical wisdom of Mother Nature herself. And then I want to invite you to just wriggle your fingers and wriggle your toes. And if you're lying down, rolling to your side. And then it would be quite nice if you might like to just sit up again and pop up again and kind of let me know you're still there. You could do a little wave, or just if anyone wants to comment or write anything in the chat box at this moment. This will be a good moment because in a minute I'm going to go and sit over on my mat and then I won't be able to see really anymore. I had to put it quite far away so that you'd be able to see what I'm doing. Is everybody okay? Look along here. Ah, some people are alive and well. Fantastic. Okay. I wanted to just tell you a little story as well. Some of you might have heard this story before about my daughter, who's 7 now. But when she was, I think she must have been about nearly 2, and it was the winter time, and she was becoming increasingly anxious. Well, it was autumn time. It was, and you know, the nights draw in, and here in Northumberland, it gets really quite dark in the winter. By the middle of winter, it's dark at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and so we were in that season, and the nights were getting darker and darker and darker. And I noticed my daughter, my little girl, getting increasingly anxious about lots of things, actually, and bedtime. And she would say, "When's it going to be light time?" And she was very anxious. And then it suddenly dawned on me one day that she had never experienced the autumn and the winter before. And she no doubt thought it was going to be the end of the world. You know, every day it was getting darker and darker and darker and less daytime. And it was quite an illuminating moment for me just to think, oh, wow. Yeah, she doesn't know that the spring will be coming. And we talked about that, even though she was very small, and we talked about it, and it was lovely. It was a lovely moment. So I've been thinking about that a lot this week as well, in thinking about this session and being in the cycles, and how maybe quite a lot of us are feeling a bit like, what is happening? And I don't know any better than anyone else, but I do have this deep sense of eventually this will pass and things will be on the upward again. So I'm just going to check. Anyone writing anything, saying anything? All good. That was a little while ago. Oh no, that was 2 minutes ago. Brilliant. Still here. All good. Yes, thank you. Lovely. Great. So I'm going to head down onto my yoga mat back there, and I invite you to do the same. If you want to do a little bit of moving. Okay. I want to share with you a little sequence that basically everyone can do in their own way, in their own time, at their own speed. I've got a few different little variations. And I think it feels really good, really juicy, really delicious, nurturing, gets our joints moving, and simple. One thing I always say, or I nearly always say in all my classes, in my real life classes, is you don't have to do anything just because I said so. And the most important thing is to listen to your own inner wisdom first, to listen to your body first, to listen to your heart, and to feel welcome to adapt things, obviously. and do what feels right. So the first little sequence we're going to do starts from a kneeling position. I'm going to suggest you kneel up like I am now. And if you haven't already done so, put some padding underneath your knees. So I've got a blanket here that I'm kneeling on. And you might want to just roll your shoulders. And take some nice deep breaths. You could yawn. And see if you can get that shoulder rolling movement in some way coordinated with your breath. So we felt the rhythm of our breath, the circle of our breath, the inhale and then the exhale, back to inhale. And now we're making a circle movement with our shoulders. So the circle of the shoulders could match with the circle of your breath. Inhale, maybe up towards your ears, and exhale down, and so on. And this sequence is quite wiggly. It's not like straight lines yoga. You can wiggle and feel into it. So, bringing your hands together in the center of your chest. We're going to inhale and reach up. And with your exhalation, fold forwards and bring your hands to the floor. Come into an all-fours position. Lift your head and lift your tail. So I forgot to say, you need to have a tail. Put your tail on. And then on an exhalation, dip your head and dip your tail, rounding your spine. I'm going to do that twice more. So see if you can coordinate it again. So you inhale, lift your head and tail. Exhale, dip your head and dip your tail. Inhale, open the front of the body. Exhale, open the back of the body. And at the end of this exhale, walk your hands closer to your knees so you can come back up to your kneeling position and roll your shoulders. So we're going to do that little sequence again, but if you like, you could kneel down to begin. If this isn't so great on your knees, then do the previous version, kneeling up. So this time, starting with your hands at your heart, we're going to inhale, lift up the arms, lift up the hips, and again, exhale forwards. Inhale, lift your head and lift your tail. And exhale, drop your head and drop your tail. And we're going to do this little movement twice more. Just a simple cat pose. Mobilizing your spine. And at the end of the third one, walking your hands in towards your knees. Coming back up to kneeling. Reach your arms up. And then kneeling back down. Okay, good. We're going to do that one more time with the option, if you wish, of tucking your toes under. So I know some people love this and some people hate it. That's a Marmite thing. So if you like to do this, go for it. If you don't like it or your toes don't like it, don't go for it. It's up to you. So everything about this session is up to you. Hands to your heart. Inhale. Reach up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, lift your head and tail. Exhale, tuck your chin, drop your tail. Cat pose. And this time through, for those that want to, we're going to add a downward facing dog. So inhale, lift your head and tail. Exhale, lift your hips, let your head hang down. Inhale, lower your knees back to your mat. Exhale, cat pose, tuck your chin, drop your tail, walk your hands in towards your knees. Come up. And if you want to tuck your toes under again, you can. And exhale, arms back down. So, next one. Kneeling up, put one foot forward, and it really doesn't matter which one, so you choose. What I will say here, I'm on a yoga mat. You may be on a yoga mat or you may not. Standard width yoga mats aren't necessarily as wide as we might like them to be for this practice. So you might find you want to take your foot that you brought forward right off your yoga mat. You might find you don't, but you can play around a little bit with the foot positioning. So feel welcome to try different positions and just have a little wiggle of your hips here. We're going to be folding forwards and putting the hands down on the inside of the knee. So you definitely don't want your foot right in the middle of your mat because it's going to be in your way. So nice and wide. And let me turn to face you for a moment because I'd like to start this sequence with a movement that looks like this. So hands to the heart. And then you turn the hands down. If you can see this very well, it's a downward pointed triangle. And you bring that down over your body, down over your lower belly. Scoop the hands together and bring them back up. So it's an inhale here. An exhale down over your lower belly. Inhale, scooping the hands together up into the heart. And exhale, sending your hands down over your lower belly. And we're going to make that movement one more time. Inhale, hands up to your heart. And this time, exhale your hands all the way down to the floor. And you can keep your hands in your little triangle or diamond shape here, or you spread them out, whatever's most comfortable for you. And we're going to circle. So I've got my right foot forward, so I'm going to circle to the right. If you have your left foot forward, I'm going to suggest you circle to the left first. So we're going outwards, little circle. And a lot of the movements we're doing in this session are circular because it's being in cycles and because they fit very nicely with our breath. So you go halfway around with your inhale and halfway around with your exhale. And then change the direction. So you're circling inward, halfway with your inhale, halfway with your exhale. Halfway with your inhale, halfway with your exhale. And then place your hands more or less under your shoulders, and we're going to lunge forward and back. And this movement is actually very like the movement we did in the symmetrical version of this sequence. So as you rock forward, lift your head. And as you rock back, if you can drop your chin and almost imagine you were also dropping your tail. So it's more round. So as we inhale and rock forward, you open the front of your body. And as you exhale and rock back, you open the back of your body. So inhale, rocking forward, open the front of the body. Exhale, rocking back and opening the back of the body. We'll do that one more time. And this time, walk your hands towards your knee and come to upright. So again, I've got my right foot forward, so I'm going to take my right arm and rest it just lightly here above the right knee. And with my left arm, with my other arm, I'm going to join my thumb and little finger, and this just keeps it quite light and soft. So we're going to make a big sunshiny circle with the left arm, or with you might be doing your right arm, with the opposite arm to the foot that you've got forward, just to be confusing. So it's inhale up and over, exhale down and under, soft, elegant, flowing, so not too rigid. And watch how I'm bending my knee, lunging a little bit as well. You may or may not want to do that movement. If you're feeling like this position isn't that great for you, it can be done like this, more upright, and it can also be done like this on both knees. So more symmetrical. So just to open the shoulder, open the chest, inhale up and over, exhale down and under. And one more time through. And we're going to windmill both hands back down onto the floor. And this time you're going to lift up the other arm. So not the one you were just circling, but the opposite one. And raise it up towards the ceiling. And then you bring it down and under, and this is your exhale. So you inhale, open up, and exhale, a little twist, closing in. Opening with the inhale, and closing with the exhale. Open on the inhale, and closing with the exhale. And what you might like to do is open this shape and then stay. If you prefer to keep it moving, that's okay. Coming out on an exhale, and then back to all fours. And you give your tail a little wag, and from all fours, exhaling, tuck your chin, drop your tail, walk your hands towards your knees, and roll back up. Roll your shoulders. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And hopefully it'll come out the same, because sometimes I change things as I go along, so bear with me. So remember the beginning of the sequence. Let me turn to face the camera again. You bring your hands to your heart, inhale, and exhale, send them down over your body. So it's like as you breathe in, you're scooping up all the warmth in your heart, all the love in your heart. Oh. And you exhale and send it down into your pelvis, down into your body. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, down into your body. And then with this next exhalation, all the way down to the earth. Bringing your hands onto the earth, and we're going to circle outward. So this time I've got my left leg forward and I'm circling to the left. If you've got your right foot forward, I suggest you circle to the right. I've got my hands on the floor, but you could have your knuckles on the floor. You could have your fingertips on the floor. You could build up the floor if you felt the floor was a bit far away. You could put like a block or a cushion or something, or a cushion here, so the floor isn't so far. And then circling back the opposite direction, and again, with the breath, inhale, halfway round, exhale, the rest of the way round. And some of you might be making very big circles, and some of you might be making smaller circles. Some of you might not be moving very much at all. I'm afraid I can't see very well from where I am, but it can be just a little wiggle. The idea with these movements is for them to feel nourishing, comfortable. So then coming to the middle, have your hands pretty much under the shoulders, and we're going to lunge forward. Lift your head, inhale. As you exhale, tuck your chin, drop your tail, open your back. So inhale forward, exhale, drawing back. And so on. Inhale, lunging forward, exhale, drawing back. Again, it feels a little like opening with the inhalation and a more closed position with the exhalation. One more time. And at the end of your next exhalation, walk your hands towards your knees so you can come to upright, what I call the will you marry me position, please. And the arm that corresponds with the forward knee rests slightly here, and your other arm flowing, thumb to little finger, big sunny circle. So inhaling up and over, exhaling down and under. In whatever way feels most comfortable for you. Could just be a little shoulder shrug like this. Or it can be a really big movement with a big lunge. Sometimes the waves are very big. Sometimes when you go down to the beach, there's hardly any movement at all. So for the body. Sometimes we need a lot. Sometimes just a little. So let's go one more time around. both hands back to the floor. And then it's the opposite arm you're moving now, and it lifts up as you breathe in. And with your exhale, sliding under. Inhale, open. Exhale, closing. And so on, just moving at your own pace, because some people's breath goes very slowly and other people's breath goes more quickly. And we're all unique. Again, if you felt like you would like to, you could stay. I always want to say ta-da in this position. Or you keep it moving, up to you. Finishing with an exhalation. And then back onto all fours. And we're going to do a cat pose. So exhaling, tuck your chin, tuck your tail. And then an option for those that want to again, tuck your toes, lift your hips, and move into downward facing dog. And perhaps stay there for 2 or 3 breaths. So up to you. So again, maybe just one or even none is enough. And you can come and rest in a child's pose. Or rest kneeling. Let your breath settle. And then I'd like to round off this part of the session, this little moving sequence part of the session, with one more round through, but this time again from a symmetrical position. And you choose which starting position you'd like to start from. So I'm kneeling down here on my heels. We had the one where you've got your toes tucked under. We've got the one where you've already got your hips lifted up off your heels. So you pick your favorite. I think I'm going to start here. Hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up your arms. Exhale, fold forward. Stretch your fingers. Inhale, lift your head and tail. Exhale, tuck your chin, drop your tail. And twice more like that. Inhale, lift your head, lift your tail. Exhale, curling, closing. Last one. And as you exhale, walk your hands towards your knees. Come upright, raise your arms. Bring your hands together and exhale. Hands to your heart. So our next practice, let me go here where you can see, can be done kneeling or sitting or kneeling up. I'm going to just continue as I am kneeling here, but make yourself comfortable. It's an upper body practice, it's an arm practice. So you might roll your shoulders a little bit and then wiggle your fingers, stretch your fingers, bring the palms of your hands together, and again, bring them into the center of your chest. So your thumbs rest against your sternum. And this takes a couple of goes through sometimes to get it. And once you've got it, it feels quite easy. So if you need to watch a few times and try it in slow motion a couple of times, don't worry, that's quite normal. So what we're going to do is you open up your palms as if you had a little book, something you're reading in the palms of your hands. And then you take your fingers, the backs of the fingers together one by one. And as you do that, your hands will start to rotate downwards and then away from you. Until you're in this position with the backs of your hands together. And maybe you can feel a nice widening across your upper back. So then we're going to undo that movement. You turn the fingers down and in towards your chest. And as you bring the hands around, you can roll the palms of the hands back together. Rest your thumbs against your breastbone. So from the side, hands at the heart, thumbs against the breastbone. You open up the book, bring the backs of the hands together, turn the fingers down and away. Nice space across your upper back, so you breathe there. And then as you exhale, fingers down and in towards your chest, and roll the hands back around, thumbs against your breastbone. Once you've got the hang of that, we inhale with the hands in this position, namaste. And you make the movement on the exhalation. And then you inhale with the arms in this position. And bring the hands back to the heart on the next exhalation. So you're only moving on the exhales. Inhale, center of the chest. Exhale, hands move away. Inhale into the space between the shoulder blades on the upper back. Exhale, hands back to the heart. We do a few more like this. Only moving on the exhales. It's like those exhales are a bit of an upheaval. But in the end, we come back to where we began. Like you could inhale here into the front of the heart. Exhale. Hands move away. And then inhale in this position into the back of the heart. Exhale, everything comes back. Settled, centered. There may be upheaval. But in our cyclical understanding of how things work, things will settle back in. Last one. So the next practice, there's two options. One, to sit with your feet in front of you, feet on the mat, and you hold behind the backs of your knees like this. And we make a little movement, something like this. So you're going to inhale, lift the breast up, and exhale, round your back. The other variation is to sit with your feet together, Baddha Konasana, and hold your shins, and do the same movement from this position. So inhale, lift the breastbone. Exhale, drawing back. So hopefully you can choose which of those feels most comfortable. And I want to suggest you just continue doing that a few more rounds. I'm going to show you the next thing, because the next thing is lying down. And once you lie down, you might not be able to see me anymore. So I thought, you carry on with this movement. I'll demonstrate the next position, and then you can lie down and do it. And we're going to be moving in the direction of some relaxation. So when you do lie down in a minute, if you happen to have two pillows, these are just regular pillows off my bed, what you do is you put one either side of you. If you've got three, that's even better. So this is a cushion I've brought to put under my head. And here's my second pillow. So I've got the two pillows either side of me. So I can lie down on my back, pillow under my head. I'm going to keep my knees bent, my feet together, and the pillows either side, so they kind of support my elbows, and then they can support my hips as well. I want to open my hips. We're going to make a little moving practice where you have your hands on your lower belly and your knees together. And then you inhale and you open the knees and you lift the hands away from the belly. Exhale, close the knees, bring the hands back onto the belly. And it can be quite a small movement, barely any movement. Or it can be a really big movement, really opening and then closing back in. So there's a theme here. We're opening with inhale, closing with exhale. If you happen to be pregnant, more than 20 weeks pregnant, and you're not lying on your back, I want to suggest you just fast forward yourself into the relaxation position. And I suggest you could take your pillows and you've got one or ideally two under your head, so plenty of pillows under your head and one between your knees, lying on your left side. And if anyone else is looking at this and thinking, that looks really good actually, then you don't have to be pregnant to lie on your side for relaxation. And that's where we're heading. So if you'd like to lie yourselves down on your mat, if you're good to lie on your back, I'm going to suggest you lie on your back, knees bent, feet together, with a pillow either side of you, one on the left side, one on the right side, either side of your hips, but ideally high enough that they're going to support your elbows as well. And if you start with your knees together and feet on the mat and hands on your lower belly, you lay myself back down. And feeling again the rhythm of your natural breath, so just normal, natural, effortless, easy breath. And then as your breath comes in, let your knees separate and lift your hands off your lower belly. And as your breath's going out, bring your knees back together and your hands onto your lower belly. And so on. I'm going to do this for about 8 breaths. You don't need to count, but just to give you a sense, we're going to do quite a few. And remember, these can be big movements or small movements. Opening with the inhale, closing with the exhale. And then settling yourself into a position for a short relaxation. So if you feel more comfortable in that closed position with your hands on your lower belly and your knees together, you might stay like that. But if you feel more comfortable with your knees open and your belly open and your arms wide, stretched out, and you want to rest like that, then you should stay like that. And if you're pregnant, I recommend that you rest on your side. I'm just going to allow a little bit of time for everyone to get settled. Just checking comments and chats and what people are up to. Cozy nests. We're going to stay still for a few minutes, so spare no expense. If you've got more pillows and blankets and something to cover your eyes, things that you can do to make yourself more comfortable, please do them. And I'm going to suggest you have a little yawn or a sigh. And allow your body now to really settle, to become still. And we're looking for the kind of stillness that comes not from kind of gritting your teeth and saying, I'm going to stay still, I'm going to stay still, but the kind of stillness that comes from ease, from letting go, from feeling supported, from feeling held. The feeling of having arrived, the feeling of having landed, of having nowhere to go, nothing to do. Because right now, in this moment, you have permission to stop. Right now, in this moment, that's allowed. Stopping, pausing, not doing. It's allowed. And not only is it allowed, but I believe it's necessary. It's what this Mother's Day, our Mother Earth, would like us to give her. A pause. A rest. And our presence. To let Mother Earth feel your presence. And to let yourself feel her presence. For you to rest in her arms. And be held. As you feel yourself settling, notice how your muscles can relax their grip on your bones. Notice how your jaw can become soft and your face smooth. Allow your eyes to close and to rest. Swallow. Release your throat. And let your attention drop into the space behind your breastbone, the center of your chest. And I invite you to think about something, anything at all, that creates for you in that space a feeling of warmth or a feeling of softness. So anything at all that gives you that feeling of warm-heartedness. For many people, it's baby animals, kittens or puppies, lovely things. Whatever it is that makes you say, oh, that was so lovely. Can you cultivate that feeling now in the center of your chest? And breathe into that. So it's as if each time you breathe, you were cultivating more and more of this warm-hearted feeling inside you. And now align your attention again with the center line of your body, the midline of your body. And use your mind's attention to create a connection between the center of your chest and the center of your pelvis. It's like you can just create with your attention the feeling of a path or a river, perhaps a channel that connects these two spaces inside your body. The heart space and the pelvic space, the womb space or the source space, the feminine space. And see if you can let your attention just gently travel up and down this path, river or channel. So that as you're breathing in, your awareness travels up into the heart space. And as you're breathing out, it travels back down into the pelvic space. Just gently inhaling up into the heart space. Exhaling down into the source, the feminine, the womb. It's like you could gather up some of that love and warmth from your heart and send it with your exhalation down into that feminine space within you. Inhaling up into the heart, exhaling deep down inside, sending love and warmth down and in. And now expand your attention back out and around the whole of your physical body. Be aware of the presence of the whole of your physical body and the contact between your body and the earth at your back or at your side. Be aware of the texture of your pillows or blankets. The touch of your breath inside your nostrils. And gently deepen your breath now. And again, yawning or sighing. Deeper breaths. Knowing this practice of relaxation is drawing to a close. Gently wriggle your fingers and wriggle your toes. And perhaps have a little stretch. See what's needed. Maybe you want to bring your knees towards your chest and rock on your back. Maybe you want to do some gentle twisting. Maybe you really don't want to do anything at all. That would be okay. You're in your safe space at home. There's no cars to drive or places to go. It's fantastic. You can stay quiet. If you are feeling like you might like to move and stretch and sit up, it would be lovely to see your smiley faces again. And I have a little greeting to share with those of you that feel like being upright. And those of you that don't feel like being upright right now, it's absolutely fine. So the greeting is just this. In fact, you could probably do it lying down. So with your palms turned upward, you inhale, make a circle, and bring the palms of the hands together. And then exhaling, guide the joined palms down into the center of the chest. Bow your head, curl your lips into a smile. From my heart to yours, from my home to yours, namaste.